If you've ever wanted to find gold on a creek just like the one here behind me, then this is the video for you. I'm going to give away the secret to finding gold on any gold-bearing creek. All gold deposits that have ever been formed in any alluvial creek rely on this: gravel. All of our gold deposits rely on gravel because this is where our gold originally forms. This is hard rock that hasn't been broken down by the pounding of the river or stream, and usually that's made up of quartz. And this stuff originates somewhere up in the mountains. As this gravel's eroded from the mountains, it releases lode deposits. Now, lode deposits are the quartz that is carrying gold. Most gold is associated with quartz. Most quartz doesn't have gold. Don't worry about that too much. The point is, gravels like that eventually make their way into watercourses like this, and that's where the magic starts happening. Because this gravel contains a little bit of gold in all of it. Now, you might be talking about one speck in a cubic meter of soil. You don't care about one speck in a cubic meter of soil. You couldn't pan that and make any kind of real money. But as time goes on, the watercourse starts eroding gravel. You can see this here is actually a gravel bar. It's so hard packed that it's actually deviated the creek around it. As it deviates around it, it erodes into the bank that also contains gravel. All of that gravel then travels downstream in a known area. So all of that erosion that's happening up there has to come through here. And in fact, it's created more erosion under this slumped bank. In the tree behind me here, we have flood debris. I'm 6 foot tall, and that flood debris is about 3 times higher than I stand. So we're talking 18 foot of water. That means all the gravel that got eroded out of the bank during that insanely large flood had to go through this channel. Put simply, until the water slows down, all the gravel is going to be suspended. And right here we have a narrow channel that opens up into a nice wide section. You can see that the water was going so hard, it actually eroded in and around these boulders before it was deviated because the water couldn't shift them. Most people are going to say that the inside bend is where you should check, and that might be true in a lot of cases. In this case, it's all solid bedrock down there. There's actually no gravel deposited on there. There could be a whole heap of reasons for that, but it doesn't matter. I use the creek to figure out where the velocity changes. You can actually see it. See how we've got fast water that goes down here? And the velocity changes right there. Check out the gold on that velocity change. Right on the line where the fast water slows down is where the gold is. Look at that. All of the gravel packed up on that velocity change. And it's decaying bedrock, meaning that the bedrock hasn't been eroded by fast water. That means it's sheltered and protected. Sheltered, protected, fracturing bedrock with gravel immediately after a ton of erosion and fast water. The real trick to finding gold is to identify where erosion has happened and where that erosion will then be deposited downstream. Remember, if everything stays the same, if everything is consistent, you're going to get the same result. So it's where the changes happen that the gold is. Now that we've washed everything off, the gold should be all down the very bottom of the point, and you can see some of the black sand sticking out here. We use a very interesting method where we tip water over the soil to wash away everything that's light, and the gold, lead, and any other heavy material will generally lag behind. You can already see gold coming out. Look at that. That's not bad. At a guess, we have between 30 and 40 fine flakes of gold in this pan, which is pretty good considering that every test pan I did through this channel gave me between 10 and 15, which leads me to the next part, which is concentrators. We might be only getting 10 or 15 specks of pan through this channel here, and that's because the flood took gravel from upstream and forced it all through the same ditch, meaning there's a little bit of concentration of gravel. If you got 1 speck of gold in every cubic yard of soil, you would never work it. But what if 100 cubic yards of soil upstream eroded out of the bank? That means you now have 100 pieces of gold in the stream, and they have to go somewhere. Because water sorts everything out based off velocity and density, it means that the gold and the black sand will generally collect together. And most of the other light stuff will move further on downstream, collecting together as well. Rarely is it 1 speck per cubic meter. You are often working in ground, especially on gold fields like this, that might have 50 to 100 specks per cubic meter. And if 10 cubic meters of soil erodes upstream, you might have thousands of specks of gold now free floating in the water looking for a new home. And the new home is where the velocity changes, whether that's an inside bend like this or a wide section of ground like this. The reconcentration of soils that contain gold is why you find gold deposits. And that's why I love erosion. Even if the bank that's being eroded is really poor in gold, it means that there's going to be a good gold deposit somewhere just downstream of it. Just found that wicked looking rock. Check that out. I'm colorblind as. I'm going to have to show Gadsy. He's going to be able to tell me what color that actually is, but it looks blue to me. But honestly, who cares about a possible blue rock when you've got gold like that coming out every pan? Every single one of those flakes is worth between 2 and 3 US cents at the current price of gold, meaning that I'm probably on $2 to $3 a pan at the moment, which is exactly why gold prospecting is so appealing to so many people right now, because I could do one of those pans in about 3 minutes. I probably shouldn't be telling you guys this stuff because this is all the secrets that I used to get in trouble for when I revealed them at the very start of Vo-Gus prospecting, but here we are. Fight me. Yeah. It's good to have someone to motivate you.
Yeah, go Chris.
That's honestly probably the key to gold prospecting. Get yourself a Gadsy.
Go Chris.
I don't know, I might show him this pan and he might get inspired to keep looking. Because that's not bad, it's really consistent. Look at that, it's probably more like a $5 pan.
Oh. Oh yeah, there's a bit in there.
Yep.
Yeah, better than what I'm getting.
Yep. The sun! I haven't seen that thing in years. So far you figured out that you need a change in velocity to cause deposition, or the depositing of gravel and gold. You've identified a spot that's giving you above average gold for the area, and we know that spot in this case is just in this section here. But because the fast water is pushing all the gravel into a nice line over this direction, there will be a sweet spot somewhere between here and the dead water that gives us the most gold, because the velocity of the water will allow those tiny particles of gold that are suspended in it to drop out. So now you've found your sweet spot, you're going to take test pans left and right to figure out where the best gold is. And I've found mine. We started over here, but if you come out just a little bit and more towards the inside bend, there it is, you hit a pocket on bedrock. And this stuff is giving me more gold than the first spot that I found. Meaning from this area here, across to about here is where our gold deposit is. The only thing left to do is to figure out how far along it goes, but that's something you can do at your leisure. Trying to reveal gold on camera in a potato pan is much harder than a flat bottom pan, but there we have it. That is a good pan. That's where our heavies are accumulating. We've got a shotgun pellet and all of that gold. Every single piece of gold and all the dirt that I collect today ends up in my slobber bag pay dirt. It's pay dirt that's $25 with guaranteed gold in every single bag. You can pick that up on my website, theoldmoldy.com.au. And the stuff from this spot is looking real interesting. We got gold, we got shotgun pellets, garnet, citrine, everything going into this next batch. So there you have it. That's how you find gold on a creek. You're looking for consistency and then the inconsistency that ends that consistency. That makes sense, right?